I'm freaking out, man.
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men power want? More power.
And now, broadcasting live from deep within the borders of occupied liberal territory known as California, Luca Zanna with Love, Guns, and Freedom.
All systems go.
Don't tread on us. We're not afraid. You work for us. We're not your slaves.
Hi everybody, good morning. This is Luca Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom. Exciting news today. I'm very excited. I'm very grateful for many reasons. First of all, because I'm alive and I can still walk with my legs. In these days, it means a lot, okay? And I can still pay my bills. So I'm very grateful for that. But today also speaking about this great journey that I had since this station, K-Talks with Dave Ace, offered me. I wasn't really honestly thinking about being radio. You can hear my accent. It's kind of not exactly what you call British. My grammar still sucks. English is my first language because I somehow renounced to my Italian citizenship. But as you know, I was born in Rome, Italy. I didn't go to school here, so I'm kind of lacking the communication skills that many of you have here in this country, being born here. So I'm doing my best. And the reason why I accepted this offer from this station because for me it is not about radio, it is not about entertainment, it is about try to reach my fellow Americans, try to reach our brothers and sisters, you listener. We are in danger. This country is in danger. The world is in danger, but right now our country is in extreme danger. Our liberties, our rights, they're going away. I mean, they're not even going away, they're stealing them from us. And unfortunately, we don't even react enough. So my goal here is try to educate each other. As you know, I don't know it all. I'm here trying to learn from you, trying to learn from my guests, trying to learn from what I study every day when I prepare the show, and more important, trying to share what I learn with you so we can all learn how to take back our rights. We have, first of all, two great guests today. A wonderful lady from North Dakota, incredible, beautiful lady also, in my opinion, very smart and great hardworking. The reason why I chose her today to be on the show, because I think she's the example of what America used to be and supposed to be. We are a nation of survivors. We are a nation of fighters. We never give up, even when times get tough. We're supposed to get a little tougher. So I will have her pretty soon, and you will listen from her about her experience, about also, she's a radio host. She has an internet radio show. I know she's going out also for a bigger deal with the network. So we will have her. Second hour, I have the exciting news. That's what I was saying before. You know, this station started me up, gave me the opportunity to learn and trying to get out. And I was contacted this week by an interesting person, a radio host, Pete Santilli, and he's pretty much in charge of this guerrilla media network. I hope I say it right. So this is going to be very exciting because I'm going to have this show rebroadcast all over their network, and they have, first of all, a great, incredible internet presence. They got millions of listeners every week, at least a couple millions, what I heard. And then they have a lot of different stations and outlets that reproduce, rebroadcast their shows. And also there is a satellite involved. So it's very much an honor, and I appreciate the opportunity. I would like to thank again Guerrilla Media Network and Pete Santilli and his staff to give me this chance to show and to share my message with more people, because this was it about. So today it's exactly the show of March the 30th, 2014, and this is Luca Zanna live on K-Talks 1340 AM also on Guerrilla Media Network, and also on lovegunsfreedom.com. Let's start with the first guest that I know she's right now there. Let me get her. Bella, are you there?
I'm here, Luca.
Bella, let me introduce you. First of all, I said briefly a little bit about you, and we will talk more about you right now. Your first name is Bella, and the last name is Dangelo, correct?
Correct.
So, Bella, we found each other because I was a guest on your show like a few weeks ago, and I was very fascinated by your life story. Beside your show, I really think that you have an interesting story to share. But first of all, let's start with your last name. Bella D'Angelo is an art name, is a nickname, or is your real last name? Are you Italian generation?
Yes, it's my real last name, and I am Italian, yes.
Well, I mean, you're American. Who was your dad, your granddad? Who was your family connected to Italy? Where you got it from? Your grandfather?
Yes.
Okay, good. Interesting, because you look like almost from the photo that I saw. You are a wonderful lady, and I must tell you something honestly. I would like to share with my listeners. When I was a young man, I was in Italy. There was an actress that I was really in love, and one of the reasons why I wanted to come to America because I wanted to meet her, and that was Farrah Fawcett. And you are even more beautiful than Farrah Fawcett. So I said, wow, this is Farrah reincarnated. Anyway, congratulations. But the reason why I brought you here is not just because of your physical exterior. Unfortunately, people cannot see you on the radio, but they can go to lovegunsfreedom.com, and I put a nice little photo of of Bella on the front page. Okay, so you can have an idea what we're talking about here. But more important is because I'm really interested about your life story, your political ideas and ideals. So let's talk a little bit about you. I would like to know, first of all, where you're broadcasting. I mean, we are talking from, where are you from right now?
Where am I sitting right now?
Yes, where are you located?
Well, I'm actually sitting in my Ford pickup truck, and I am staring straight ahead at a drilling oil rig. I'm up on location at one of my favorite company man's drilling rigs.
And which state exactly? North Dakota, right?
Yes, in North Dakota.
Perfect. And tell me a little bit, tell us a little bit about how did you, interesting lady like you with a different past, now you're working in North Dakota. It's a kind of extreme environment. Tell us, first of all, what is your background? Where are you originally from and what you used to do before you started to live in North Dakota?
Sure, Luca. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, which, quite honestly, I really don't know how I lasted as long as I did there with their very, very extreme liberal views. But I was in corporate sales for over 15 years there. I started out selling cell phones, and then I did uniforms and floor mat rental services, and then I worked for 10 years for Tim and Val Doherty, which is Doherty Employment Group. And for the 10 years that I was there, I was in every single manufacturing floor in all of Minneapolis, and I'd started just after 9/11. And a lot of people said to me, if you could sell at that time, you obviously can sell, because obviously the country and manufacturing really was devastated right after 9/11. And in the 10 years that I was there, I also, I've always been very conservative in my outlook, and then I watched as the country continued to fall into this double-dip recession and walking away from who and what this country was all about, and watching as everybody was getting frustrated with both political groups. And finally, by the last 2 years that I was there, I was deeply concerned, because as I sat in those manufacturing floors and I watched as so much industry was being offshored, and none of the CEOs or the plant managers or any of these guys sitting in there were actually stopping and saying, well, how do we stop this? How do we keep our business here? How do we, because, so people couldn't retire. They'd lost their investments. They'd lost their retirement accounts. And I sat there and I thought, and nobody is standing up and saying, what are we going to do about this? And, I thought very logically and very clear, and I thought to myself, I got to do something different, because we were already in the second and third layoff. My company that I was working for, I held the majority of the revenue for the organization, and I knew that they were going to come after me for cuts when they were starting to hurt. And meanwhile, I was writing my book. I have an autobiography. I'm stuttering on it. If this vortex doesn't slow down, and I would come home every night after work. I'd go to the gym, and then I'd come home and I'd watch Fox, and I would write. And this is really how my radio career started, because one day I just couldn't take it any longer, listening to Fox and understanding that nobody was really understanding the impact of Obamacare, followed with amnesty after it.
Exactly.
And go ahead.
No, exactly, and I agree with you, because unfortunately, when I woke up myself, I realized that all mainstream media, Fox included, even there were some people that there's some hosts that were more at least reasonable to try to spell it out, the truth, but doesn't matter. When it comes to the most important topics for the global agenda, they're pretty much all selling us out. And that also was Fox News too, in many aspects, unfortunately. But please continue.
Sure. Well, I called in to Sean Hannity on this one day, and I always say people, I don't know. Sean, on that day, the very first time I called in, he was giving me a hard time about my nickname, because my full name is Isabella, but obviously my nickname is Bella. And so he was going on and on saying if I'd watched the movie Twilight. And I didn't know what he was talking about, because, Luca,
yes,
I had tuned out, movies and entertainment and anything that would distract me from what I was watching, which was the biggest fear, which was the crumbling of this country. I mean,
yes.
I couldn't believe that everybody was just passively allowing this to happen when it was so blatant. And so finally Sean said, "What did you call in tonight to talk to me about?" And I said, "Amnesty, Sean."
Mm-hmm.
And I explained to him, and I explained to him that the problem was that we were already so severely crippled, our economy. We were already in a double-dip recession, that if they passed amnesty, that was the only way that businesses were going to be able to recover from the cost of Obamacare.
Yes, and let me explain something what I think about the amnesty, also coming from a former legal immigrant, and also coming from a point of view that I was an activist against the illegal aliens invasion. Unfortunately, both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, for the same or different reasons, doesn't matter, they're all pretty much at the top level on the same agenda. The agenda is, first of all, to completely have a new type of slaves. Political slaves, and I call them also economical slaves. They need these 30 millions of illegal aliens that they will transform them in voters, especially for the Democrats, but also for the Republicans, that pretty much they can start to destroy the foundation of this republic, coming to a point that now will not be any more a republic, but will become a democracy. That means 51% of the masses will be able to steal and try to confiscate and rape our rights, our properties, and that's pretty much what they're trying to do. They need to have this new, and I'm not, get me wrong, I have no problems with people coming from all over the world. I wasn't born here. This is not about being native. This is about coming to America, first of all, with love, because that's why I always say love is very important. It's more important than any type of paperwork. Government now can make you legal overnight. But the point is, do you understand that this country does not owe you anything? You are a guest, and when you become a citizen, you're still here to at least understand the foundation, the principle. This is not a democracy. This is a republic. And if you don't understand the principle, I think you have a problem here, because unfortunately these people can vote, and they will vote us out. That's my concern, most important, beside, of course, the economic part. Don't you think? Don't you visualize that? Maybe in a few years, having 30 millions of illegal aliens become now finally citizen, they can pretty much wipe us out at the polls.
Exactly. That's couldn't have said it any clearer. I mean, and certainly I am a fan of immigrating to this country, obviously, but this is no longer immigrants coming here to assimilate into this country. It's now to take over and take advantage and have entitlement, which is, obviously we know this country has now become a huge country of entitled.
Exactly.
They feel that they are entitled to all of the greatness that this country has unfortunately handed over in such an abusive style to get them addicted to the entitlement, to get them addicted to government.
Exactly. And they want to, it's like almost a trap, okay? They want us addicted. They want us dependent, okay? So you're going to need the government more and more. And the sad thing is the Republican is as guilty as the Democrats on this issue, at least the top levels. And so most of these media personalities, unfortunately, I really believe they got corrupted. And there is almost for everybody there is a price. And I feel very disgusted because, first of all, as a former legal immigrant, I would feel like, let's say, I am being treated like an idiot because I had to wait for years, follow all the different type of rules and laws. And then I see somebody that just broke the law and out of the blue, is going to get rewarded. It's like tomorrow, let's say somebody just did a robbery and the police says, you know what, after all, please come out, pay us a little fine, and you can still be free, and you can maybe keep most of your booty or whatever it's called, okay? So I think it's disgusting in many levels, but more important, I'm really concerned about this republic, because once you give them the opportunity to be here legally, they will pretty much vote. And when they will vote and they will be here, it's called chain migration. Chain migration, they can carry another 3 or 4 of their family members and they will completely wipe us out. And that's what the globalists need, because they control the media, they can control the polls. They can, remember also now we have all electronic voting, and pretty much this is the death of this republic if this amnesty passes. And every host like Amnesty or anybody else that is trying to give us the excuse, I'm sorry, or you are too dumb and they are not dumb, you know that they are pretty smart people, or you're being bought out. That's my opinion.
Well, we haven't lost it all yet.
I agree. We don't know. I agree.
And my participation in trying to make a difference really started that day when Luca, when I got off, when I explained that businesses were going to have to be able to hit their bottom line by agreeing to amnesty, because then what they were going to do is they would lay off all those mid-skilled workers that were making the good wages from $12 to $20 an hour. They would have to lay them off and then bring in the now legal to be illegal at, say, $8 an hour so they could hit their bottom line. And I said, you can't even imagine the rest of the destruction of this country and this economy. Well, at the end of 17 minutes being on with Sean, the pre-screener picked me back up, and she said, you can come on this show anytime. And I said, great, when can I come on again? Mm-hmm. I went on the show 13 more times, and then I went on with Dennis Miller. Now, this isn't bragging. What I'm simply stating was that was when I knew and understood that I really wanted to be committed to making a difference. And what I thought after that first show, Lucas, I thought, you know what's missing in talk show is that you don't have regular, everyday people that are waking up every day and paying for the consequences of what this administration is doing to us.
Exactly. I agree. And that's exactly why I like your show, by the way. And I would like, please remind also to the listeners your website, because at least they can find more about you. I can also listen when you're going to be on the air. Please give your website.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's Bella, BellaDangelo.com. And my radio show broadcasts 4 nights a week. 5 nights. Sunday night is conservative music night, and then Monday through Thursday is talk radio with a lot of humor here from the oil field from 7 to 9 p.m. And it's BellaDangelo.com.
Perfect. And just to let you know, guys, listeners, if you go to lovegunsfreedom.com on the homepage, there is Bella, beautiful face of her, and there is a link, goes to a special page just for today's show, and there is a link that goes straight to her website. So in case you lost it, go to the lovegunsfreedom.com, and you will find the link straight to her website. Perfect. I think it's very important speaking about illegal immigration, because people think sometimes, love, guns, and freedom must be about guns, maybe a little bit of love and freedom, but what are the guns? It's all connected. Because let me tell you guys, we talk in this show about several things. Of course, the second hour mostly is going to be about more rifles, guns, and stuff like that. But if we don't understand as a nation the dangers, what's happening to our rights, and how we can pretty much take them back or stop this slaughter of our basic individual rights. And we can, if we don't understand how to defend this republic, also from the political point of view, there are not going to be any more guns. Because think about it, we had 2 years ago the Senate led by Feinstein, Senator Frankenstein, and some other senators, Schumer and all the crowd. They were trying to pass the assault weapon ban, much even worse than the original one that was under Clinton. And somehow we were able to hold the line in the Senate, believe it or not, and in Congress, because we still have enough Americans in this generation that we are dedicated and they understand the basic concept of Bill of Rights and the Second Amendment itself. But think about now, in 10 years from now, if the demographic is going to be completely changed and you have 30 millions of new Americans and they come from countries like, for example, Mexico. I have nothing against Mexico, but even Italy itself sometimes, because, for example, in Italy or in Mexico, they don't have rights. The Second Amendment does not exist. Only the government and the mafia and the drug cartels have guns. So unless you have a very much educated person that wants to assimilate, or at least would like to understand the difference between a right and a privilege. But when you have, unfortunately, poor people that they just want to work and they just want a piece of bread and they completely come from poverty, they really don't care that much to think about you should have a gun. And if they get somehow put in a situation like they're going to get a little Democrat or even Republicans, they've been bad as bad, and they say, Second Amendment is not a right, it's a privilege, or at least we can start to understand how we can legislate it, how we can regulate it. So we're going to have no more guns. That's my bottom line. That's why talking about illegal alien invasions, talking about illegal immigration, it's vital to defend our basic rights, among them the Second Amendment. Okay. I talk too much, Bella, sometimes. I'm sorry. I get really passionate. When it comes to illegal immigration, that honestly was the first thing that woke me up when I was in America. Even I wasn't a citizen yet. And I started to realize that this country cannot survive this invasion. That's why I got involved into this. At the beginning was for the Second Amendment, for the legal immigration. Bella, before we go ahead, because I would like to play for you a song before we go and talk about more your life. I have here two sponsors that I want to thank, because this show, different from other stations like NPR or public station that they pretty much extort your dollars through the government. We are here because people voluntarily support us. It's called free market. So I have two sponsors that I'm very grateful. One is MP Guns Sales. They're located in Fort Mojave, exactly 4470 Highway 95 across from Maverick. Their phone number is 928-444-5905. And great people. I mean, they sell guns, but also you don't need to buy. Sometimes you want to have just a type of, question and advice. They're there. They have also a website, mpguns.com. Please go there and ask for Neil. Great guy. Then we have great people, really. I like their spirit. I like also their product. It's called Colorado River Vapor. And they're located in 4400 South Highway 95, Suite C, Fort Mojave, Arizona. And they also have a phone number, of course, 928-763-3536. And the website is coloradorivervapor.com. Otherwise, go to lovegunsfreedom.com and you will see the links where you can connect directly to them. Bella, listen to me. I would like to know more about your personal, or at least business, because it's all connected. You are kind of a tough woman, from what I see from outside. I'm sure you are a very delicate woman in your private life, but from outside, I tell you, your lifestyle you do, I don't even know if I could be able to endure it. North Dakota, first of all, is kind of harsh weather. What type of temperature do we have right now, for example?
Well, it's actually, you're going to laugh at me when I say it's actually warm, because it's 42 It's 42 degrees today, and we're all running around happy because, it's normally in the winter. When I first moved here, and let me back up a little bit, because we jumped ahead a little bit in that when I was on Hannity at that point.
Yes.
My biggest fear was not having a job.
Oh.
And this is what correlates to why I'm out here, because being in Minneapolis at the time and watching manufacturing go away. And I've worked since I was 13, so not having a job is my biggest fear. And I found out about the oil field out here in North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started traveling out here and interviewing. And the minute you cross from Minnesota into North Dakota, I don't know, it's just, it's really a beautiful state. It's flat, but it's very pretty here. Once you get into the Bakken itself, which is a big triangle from about Minot up to Williston down to Dickinson, which is the area of play here in North Dakota. The thing that I saw right away was so much activity and so much construction and growth, and then you look in the paper and you look online and there's just endless jobs. And coming from a place like Minneapolis where I was I was selling temporary staffing, and there were no jobs to be had, and people were being flooded with applications. So to come out into this utopia of what the country was supposed to be like, the American dream, and as hard as you work, you reap the benefits, and there's just jobs galore. Now, although it was 99.9% men out here, and believe it or not, I'm a tomboy at heart, but I just fell in love when I got to find out that I got to be paid, drive around in a big truck in jeans and steel-toe boots and Carhartt jacket, and then the greatest thing was once I got up on location and I walked into my first company man shack and started talking, suddenly all of the way that I saw this country and my fears of the economy and our leaders, I just spoke from the heart, and these good old boys looked at me and said, "Where are you from, sweetheart?" And when I said Minneapolis, they couldn't believe it. I still can't believe. I'd like a blood test to prove that I was actually related to some of the liberals that I was back there. But literally, I said, and then I looked at the TV screen and I said, "What did he do to us today?" Meaning the anointed in this administration. And then I looked at them and I told them, even though I didn't have my radio show yet, I knew that I was going to. And I said, I'm going to have a radio show, and I want to make a difference. I want people to hear from just an everyday, hardworking girl my viewpoint of this country, and I want people that don't normally listen to conservative talk radio. I want the young. I want the disenfranchised. I want the silent majority. I want those that want nothing to do with politics and this country to tune in, and that's why I use a ton of humor in my radio show. And not one of them looked at me and ever questioned. All they said was, "I think someday you're going to be on Fox, sweetheart." But the fun was getting to know these really great guys out here in the oil field. And the fact that they gave me respect right off the bat to help me build my business, which my first job out here was selling drill bits. And then about a year into my life out here, I got talked into starting my own business, which I own a cleaning business. I do cleaning of the living quarters up at the oil rigs, and then I do catering, and then I also have a couple of sales jobs for a couple of other organizations, and then I come in the evening and do my radio show, and I'm just very blessed and honored to have all that I have out here. And the other purpose of my radio show is to dispel the myth about what the media portrays in the oil field. They would like you to believe that these are a bunch of drinking, drugging, not very smart individuals. It couldn't be further from the truth. What exists here is the American dream. And the American dream, entrepreneurialism and capitalism, means that as hard as you work, and the whole reason people came to America in the beginning was to pursue the, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and to be able to own a business someday, and to work as hard as you could, you reap the benefit.
I agree with you.
Yes, and working like a family out here. I mean, this is a small community out here, but we all have each other's back. And, in the 4 years that I've been out here, I have been treated with more respect up in an oil rig by the company man and all the hands that work up here than anywhere outside of here. Now, my experience goes back to Minneapolis, but these are great people out here doing the really tough jobs that most Americans or people don't understand what their world would be like if they didn't have oil.
Exactly. And, unfortunately, what's happening right now to America, it is not by accident. It is not by because somebody is just incompetent, like they try to think or they try to say. There is a plan. This is an evil plan. It's completely deindustrialization, completely destroy the productivity of America. It did not start just today with Obama. I mean, we're talking about there is a long-term plan started at least, let's say, 50 years ago. But since the creation of NAFTA, CAFTA, that probably you're aware, I was even in the country, but I learned about it during the 90s. There is a lot of plan here. And of course, now with Obama, it's almost the apotheosis, like the tip of the iceberg, or really it's going to be almost the final closer, like you're closing. They're going to completely make our life to a level, to level us up or level us down to the same level of third world country. That's their plan. I mean, let's not forget, for example, look at the oil prices, okay? When Obama went in office, we're talking about what, $1.60, something like that? I mean, now we are more than $4 in many states. And the problem is, remember, there was some of his executive staff and also the guy in charge of Department of Energy, I guess. It's a Chinese-looking man. I'm sure he's American. I guess he's American. But anyway, I forgot his name. But the point was caught on camera, caught on video and on microphone. Their goal was to completely increase the fuel and energy type of cost to the same level of Europe. So I come from Europe. I can tell you, gasoline, it's like impossible. Only the rich people can really have a car and drive, or at least it's very difficult. But the reason why they want to control also the gasoline prices is also because, first of all, mobility means freedom. A country that was able to be mobile can be also free to travel, free also to move and think. And more important now, when you have a country completely under a hammer and anvil, I mean, we're going to be so poor that we cannot even be able anymore to protest. And we will need, or at least they think that we will need to depend on the government. So that's unfortunately what's happening right now. Is sad because this country, as you know, better than me, you live there. There are so many natural resources. There is no way that we have to go all the way to beg to Middle Eastern countries and being involved in their business when we have all the oil and natural resources here in America. Don't you think that?
Absolutely. And, you know, as we watch what is happening over with Russia and the Ukraine and Crimea, there's a lot of things that, you know, unfortunately, and I don't get into, I'll just say this, we don't belong over there. That's their own war that an agenda that Putin has. But the thing is what goes on there could impact here in the States, because we do have an incredible, I mean, we could be the leading exporter of oil and also natural gas, which could come into play depending on what happens over there. But, you know, so many people don't understand the natural resources we have. Also, they don't understand just how effective and regulated the oil industry is. I've been here 4 years. I have an H2S indicator that is clipped onto my Carhartt jacket every day. H2S is the most deadliest gas out here. And by the time you smell it, you better run fast, but it'll kill you very quickly. Well, in the 4 years I've been out here, that indicator has never gone off.
Oh, my God.
I spend 7 days a week up at an oil rig. I'm here 24/7. And I'm actually the healthiest I've been compared to when I was back in Minneapolis in a lot of the smog and pollution that you're in the downtown all the time. My allergies are the only thing that I fight, and they've actually gotten better out here. But the other point is we've got over 180 to 190 active drilling rigs going on a daily basis out here, and these drilling rigs move. And with the amount of activity and what we are doing out here, if it were as harmful and dangerous that the media would like you to believe it to be, including attacking fracking. You know, they always blame fracking on earthquakes. We have not had one earthquake or tremor out here, and people don't understand that fracking is a necessity to this play right here, and it's because of horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing. That, think of it this way, Luca, what is going on here in North Dakota is really supporting the rest of this country right now, because there's over 50,000 people here on a regular basis on their days on. When they go days off, another 50,000 or more come in. That's over 100,000 people just in the Williston area. That's not including this whole oil field. Well, when they go on their days off, they take the good money that they're making here, and they're going all over the U.S. and sometimes the world, bringing that money, which is sustaining this very, very weak economy, which it is also the anointed crowning, when he talks about being responsible for all this oil production, that is a complete lie, because the only reason that we're able to have what we have here is we are private land, private businesses.
Bella, I have a question for you. This is connected to this. First of all, I agree with you. First of all, hypocrisy would be, okay, the same people that criticize the oil business, still they would be okay to buy oil from a third world country or from another country where pollution still would be there anyway. I mean, let's say if they want to play this type of logic, okay, the oil pollutes. I mean, why you don't care about maybe polluting Saudi Arabia? I mean, that would be already there, I think, some sort of in hypocrisy. But more important, I think, yes, I think we should always look for a new form of energy. By the end of the day, the free market should decide exactly what works better. Oil, in my opinion, is much better than many other things, because at the end of the day, I don't agree with nuclear. I changed my opinion in the last few years, because I think, unfortunately, nuclear power, it creates always the mistake. There is always a mistake we can do, even 1% or 1,000%. We are humans. When you make a mistake with nuclear, it's completely, there is no way you can fix it. You got to live the rest of your life maybe with that. But oil, I think, is still natural. Yes, we need to do it right. But at the end of the day, it is not dangerous like they want to make us look. I don't know much about fracking. I must tell you, I don't want to say good or bad, because I would like to learn more. But the reason why I would like to tell you is about a very important person, in my opinion. Is a pastor. He's still alive. His name is Lindsey Williams, and he wrote a book, The Energy Non-Crisis. Did you ever heard about him?
I have not.
Please, I beg you, because you are a very smart woman, and this is a very important document that is a very important person. He wrote this book. You can get it on Amazon for about even a couple dollars used. This is a pastor that, let me tell you briefly the story. After only 1 week on the north slope of Alaska, Senator Chance at the time has said to me, this is about the Pastor Williams talking, this pastor used to be working on the oil field, being part of the team, and they used to become friends with the different CEO and different upper management of this oil field. Anyway, the Senator Chance told them, to Pastor Williams, almost everything said to me about the energy crisis by those briefers from Washington, D.C. was a lie. After proving that they find a Gull Island, an narco executive went on to say, Chaplain, America has just become energy independent. The energy crisis had just come to a screeching halt. Anyway, bottom line, what happened, during the 70s, this pastor was witnessing that there was, in Alaska, this company found a huge amount of natural gas and oil. Huge, so much they could have been taking care of all the world, but more important, America. They were so happy. They thought they were going to be finally create American independence in the energy business. Unfortunately, from Washington, all the insiders, and I can give you just some little name out there. For example, there are different people that, like somebody that maybe you know, Kissinger, maybe you know Henry Kissinger. Anyway, you need to read this book to show, it shows the fraud that we've been living the last 50 years at least. We should be completely energy independent, but the way they don't want us that. They don't want. That's why it's so difficult also to drill. That's why it's so difficult to deal with the federal government, and they want always to try to control any type of resources like drilling, also refining. I think it's even more difficult now. So I would like, please, if you can read that book, I will put a link on the page also. It's The Energy Non-Crisis by Pastor Lindsey Williams. This is a true story.
I will order that book, Luca.
And, it's shareable because, I'm sure that many other people work in the field, they may know about him, but sometimes they're so busy just working, and it's important because we need to educate also our legislators, and that's our job. We need to try to show that there is a plan here. It is not just an accident. They want to destroy us in every way, starting, of course, from the economical point to start. Talking about Russia and talking about what's going on with Ukraine, I'm very concerned, Bella. I heard, first of all, that there is, a plan, or at least was a document that was exposed by Judicial Watch. You're familiar with Judicial Watch organization? You ever
Yes.
heard? Perfect. It is fresh out of the news. Bottom line, U.S. secretly, the Obama administration is doing right now, is being caught giving to Russia free military equipment used by the Army and by the Marines. Can you believe that? We have all this show that we try to face this sort of a new Cold War and Russia, and we go there minding in their business, and meanwhile we're almost close to World War III. At the same time, the secret operation was exposed this week by members of Congress that discovered in the process of reviewing the fiscal year 2014 budget and the proposed fiscal year 2015. So now we know that there is a bunch of military equipment given for free, our tax dollar for free to Russians. Did you know about that?
I did not.
Please go to lovegunsfreedom.com, go to your webpage article. I put the link there, and it's at the bottom of the page. This is official news from Judicial Watch. I call this We've Been Set Up. We are between, like in a bad movie now. It's a mix between Red Dawn with a twist of Manchurian Candidate. Yes, Manchurian, no candidate, President Manchurian, I forgot the name. Anyway, the Manchurian scumbag in the White House. That's what it is. Okay? Because this is the truth. You know that this guy...
No, but you know what, Luca? Look at it this way. And then I'm going to have to wrap this up because I'm going to have to go. But look at it this way.
Yes.
What, and I say this all the time, what was it, though, that was going to finally make people wake up? Because you know, as I know, that we became frustrated, and we became frustrated because we were talking to those that did not want to get engaged. They didn't care. They didn't want to listen to us. They said, you know what? All I want is change. I ranted so loudly back in Minneapolis. I was finally told that at the last year that I was there, all my sales calls basically weren't sales calls anymore. All I was doing was preaching about what was going to happen because I was scared out of my mind that what I was predestined in seeing was unfortunately going to come to pass. And, but as I stand here today and I say every single day, the more lunacy, the more insane, the more criminal behavior against this country. We have the perfect storm right now. Unfortunately, with the loss of, all these millions and millions of people losing their health care, but it's hitting them in their pockets, and they're finally starting to wake up and say, wait a minute.
Exactly. I agree. We need to, unfortunately, suffer a little bit before we wake up. I'm not talking me and you. You're already awake on many levels. But unfortunately, the masses must understand only when they will understand only when they're going to start to suffer a little bit. And it's sad, but it's true. Bella, I would like to leave you with a song that normally I always play. My songs, they are mostly politically lately. By the way, you got my CDs. I hope you enjoy them. The song I want to play with you, also for my audience, is something a little different. It's a romantic song. And I hope you enjoy it. It's from my new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. And it's called A Brand New Day. And I really wish you a beautiful life there. And I hope also a lot of success, but also a lot of personal success in your family and love and peace. That would be my prayer for you, Bella.
Thank you so much, Luca. Thank you for having me on the show, and I look forward to talking to you offline as well. And God bless all you're doing.
Thank you, and stay there or listen to the music if you wish. Otherwise, anyway, I'll be in touch with you. Ciao, Bella.
Okay. Ciao, Bella.
Close your eyes, now's the time to start again, you and me. Don't be afraid, just let it go. Can you feel my love? I'm your man. Hope and illusions fade away, but our love will remain in this life. Don't be afraid of our past, because this time we have each other. We have each other. Close your eyes, just hold my hand. It's a bright new day, it's not the end. I feel he's there in the dark. He waits for us and our love. Hope and illusions fade away, but our love will remain in this life and the other. Bright new days in front of us. Don't be afraid of our past, because this time we have each other.
Here we go, back. This is Luca Zanna, and you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. And what I can say, this show is not just about freedom, of course, it's also about love, because I always believe that love is the biggest engine, is the biggest motivator. To get committed, to be involved, we need to be motivated, and only if we understand what's going on, only if we are ready to sacrifice ourselves, and to sacrifice yourself for something, you must have love. That's my point of view, and that's why, I also believe that we should enjoy life, because we're talking here about very important things. This is not just about try to entertain at all, because honestly I'm not a good entertainer. I'm just a regular guy, and I'm trying to share information, trying to awake my fellow Americans, and even sometimes just put a seed, like this book that I was talking today about, with my guest, Bella Dangelo, The Energy Non-Crisis. This is one of the books that really woke me up about probably 10 years ago, and made me understand that what's happening to this country and to the world, it is not just by accident or just because somebody's trying to make an extra buck. This is a part of a big global hidden agenda, and it's not good. It's called global government. It's called New World Order. Even Hannity, so much of a neocon that he is in many aspects, a few years ago, I think 3 years ago or so, on the show, live, he started to mention the word New World Order. Many radio hosts, even working with mainstream media, they start to acknowledge this word. They've been knowing this for years. Now, also, I understand people that are waking up, and because we are waking up, they need to try to catch up. So that's the purpose of the show, spreading love, spreading information, but ready also to fight in every way. Start with the political First Amendment, but don't forget, at the end of the day, we also are love, guns, and freedom, because without guns, there is no freedom. And speaking about guns and freedom, there is a column on the Kingman Daily Miner. I appreciate it. They published one of my letters today. You can read it online. And it's called With My Rifle, My Liberty is Secure. I didn't really give it a type of headline, but at least they published my letter. I will read it the second hour. Also, we have another great guest. It's the guy. It's Pete Santilli from Guerrilla Media Network. And we'll have him with me, so we'll tell you a little bit about the network rebroadcasting this show. And a little bit also about his show we will talk. And then I have Mike Mike Hagwood, that is a great guy, is a friend, also really is a help here to try to bring the show alive, because he also the guy looks for sponsors. And we need them so much because we don't get money from the government, okay? So stay tuned, don't go away. You've been listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna. Ciao, stay tuned.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth,
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Freaking out, man.
And we are back. This is Luca Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom live on K-Talks and on Guerrilla Media Network and on lovegunsfreedom.com. We have a guest now, another guest, second hour, and this is the guy that found me and gave me the chance to be on his network, Guerrilla, how do you say? I need to be, my accent sucks sometimes, and I need some help. So I will ask him exactly how to pronounce it, because I need to work better on my accent, I know that. So let me get, first of all, Dick Man, Mr. The Only One. Are you there? Pete Santilli, are you there?
I'm here. I have an easy one for you. Ready? You can just call us GMM.
GMM, perfect. That's really, I owe you for that one. But, since I'm trying to learn English here, give me a little bit of a lesson, please. How do you say it? Guerrilla? Was I okay with that?
What?
Gorilla.
Gorilla? Yeah, gorilla as in like a gorilla, like an ape, but it's GUER. Guerrilla Media Network.
Perfect. Pete, thank you very much. First of all, thanks again for the opportunity, and there was kind of almost a nice story. I like beautiful stories, how you found me or how we found each other. Please tell our listeners a little bit about you, about your network, and also how we found each other. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, first off, buon pomeriggio, right? Is that how they say it?
Yes, buon pomeriggio. Now you come in my territory. Yes, good afternoon.
That's right. Good afternoon, sir. By the way, I'm first-generation Italian, as a matter of fact. My name is Pete Santilli. And about me in a nutshell, I'm a former United States Marine, former corporate executive, former recovering neocon Fox News brainwashee. And I say that with a lot of affection, because my entire life I was raised a Republican, within a in an Italian family of Democrats. Let's put it that way. But my commander in chief was Ronald Reagan in the Marine Corps, and when I went into corporate America, I was just living the American dream, with a very strong familial background of living in the land of opportunity. And I was very, very successful as a corporate executive, and then I stumbled into some things that were happening at Coca-Cola Corporation, and very bad things. And I had, perfect track record, and I blew the whistle at Coca-Cola and ended up filing, in a very long story short, I ended up filing a $200 million class action lawsuit against them. Was successful. I think they're still paying out on that lawsuit to the employees. But from there, I essentially was committed to helping, just advocating workers' rights and consumer rights. I became a consumer advocate. I started my own business. I've done a lot of, online marketing stuff, but I was primarily a consumer advocate, helping people, for instance, seniors steer clear of financial planners that were ripping them off, and homeowners when the housing market crashed, helping homeowners save themselves from the banks. From there, I said, oh, my goodness, now I had come awake to a lot of the issues that we're all coming awake to. I think you came awake much sooner than I did based on our conversations. But I started really coming awake around 2006 or so to a lot of these political issues. But I've still been very, very aware that financially our nation could not survive just accumulating debt and doing what we've been doing. And finally it got to the point where 2008 hit. I saw the financial crash happen, and then we weren't taking any corrective action. And I said, oh, my goodness, we are not going to save ourselves. We're going to make things worse. It's going to be like the Great Depression. I started writing on my blog back in 2007, 2008 that we're headed for a depression. And at that time, I was told, oh, my goodness, Pete, you're being very negative. You need to be much more positive about things. And what I called back then is exactly what we're living right now, in a depression, essentially. And we still haven't fixed our problems. But anyways, around 2011, finally I said, I have to do something. I think I was listening to an alternative media talk show host, and he said, I can't do this by myself. You guys need to grab a camera and a microphone and go do something. And I said, all right, I've got one of two options. I could literally pick up and leave the country and just watch this thing implode from afar because I was frustrated with people on my social media. Or I'm going to tell my social media people, all right, I'm going to start a radio show. You guys support it, I'll stay with it. And I'll stay here and I'll stand and fight for my country.
Excellent.
And, we received pretty good response from it in the beginning. December 2011, we started. I was the first listener when I pushed play. And now after 667 episodes, we're well over 2 million listeners outside of terrestrial radio. This is worldwide on the Rents Network, on the Guerrilla Media Network, on all of our channels, on the satellite network, on the Rent system. Now, how you and I came together?
Yes.
We've been following the Obama birth certificate issue. I'm just going to tell you very briefly. Aside of what Arpaio's been doing to investigate Obama, I was following the birth certificate issue. Within 5 minutes after that birth certificate was posted on whitehouse.gov, I downloaded the thing. I was listening to Donald Trump. I said, okay, Donald Trump, your issue's over. The birth certificate is settled. There's the birth certificate. Within minutes after that thing was downloaded onto my desktop, I looked at it, and I saw, and I'm an Adobe expert, by the way, I saw that it had multiple layers, that had floating layers. I said, what the heck is this thing? I said, oh, my goodness, you've got to be kidding me. And you know what I did, Luca?
Yes.
I actually said to myself, this thing is such a hot issue. If I come out and start calling this thing a fraud, I'm going to look like a wingnut. So I kept my mouth shut for a little bit, and I just let things settle. I knew from 8 minutes after that thing was posted it was a fraud. Now, Arpaio launched his investigation, and it's been ongoing. And we have had Mike Zullo on my show. I have spoken with the investigators in the Arpaio office there with the cold case posse. We've been following this thing to the letter, following it all along. And we were happy to find out recently that Sheriff Arpaio's cold case posse is finally going to be releasing. And I understand why he's been holding off. They needed to cross their T's, dot their I's. We stumbled into this video. I think P.P. Simmons put it out.
Yes.
And I watched it, and I said, oh, yes, finally. So I was really charged up listening, watching that video. And at the end of the video, I heard this song. And I said, that's a pretty powerful song, man. I really, really like that song.
That was Don't Tread on Us. Don't Tread on Us.
Don't Tread on Us is the song. And that's what I was just going to say. In the credits, I found out what the name of the song was and who wrote it. Your name was in the credits. And from that moment, I started playing the song. I downloaded it right away. I took a look at your website, and then we had a team meeting. And we just started digging into your stuff. And I'm telling you, we were pleasantly down your rabbit hole of patriotism. And we just found, to tell you the truth, our team, as we were listening to you and we were looking at your website, we said, this guy is us. and that's sincere. That's the sincerest way that I can describe how we found you and how we felt about you right away. Everything you were saying about Second Amendment rights, even where you came from an immigration perspective. I come from a family of immigrants. I was, conceived on the boat.
Oh, my God.
First generation here. So I understood your pride in living here in the United States of America, that land of opportunity. So everything about you, we absolutely loved. And we said, we need to get this guy on our network. We just need to come together with him and share him with our audience.
Go ahead. Well, excuse me. Go ahead. Continue, please.
No, that's basically it. That's where we're at right now.
Yeah, and I thank you for that, because I believe, first of all, we do what we have to do regardless sometimes. I've been driving to the station here. I want to thank again, first of all, the station, Dave Hayes, for the opportunity, because this is not my trade. I never really thought in my life, especially coming from a country like Italy, that I'd never really spoke English so correctly, and my accent is not exactly sometimes too easy to understand, but was something I never really put in my things wish to do. I write songs. I'm pretty okay with that. I do other things. I'm a business guy. But to be on the radio was something, oh my God. And then I have the station say, guy, Luca, why don't you try? And I say, thank you. It was a great opportunity. And for me, it's not about the radio. It's about trying, like you've been doing, reach my fellow Americans and wake them up, because time is short. And then honestly, it was funny that, I put my love out through my music, and somebody, I even didn't know, I wasn't aware that they post that song at the end of this video with the Joe Arpaio investigation. I was very pleased. I appreciate it. They put my credits. And then by accident, or maybe act of God, I believe there is also God above us, and there is we do our part and somebody else is doing his part. So it was funny. I thought it was kind of interesting, the story, how we found each other. And I would like to say again, thank you for the opportunity, because for me to reach more people with my message, my perspective, because this is like, for me, it's I look at myself like I'm a desperate Cassandra, the woman that was the daughter of Priamus, the king of Troy, and she had some sort of this power to forecast bad things before happen. Many of us can do that, but I give you the forecast from a perspective of a man already been living the nightmares. I left the nightmare. It's called Europe. It's called global socialism. It's called a new world order already in action. That's what it's about in Europe. And this is the last place, the last thing I want to call it, the last seed of freedom. And it's like a little flower, and it's dying. Water has not been poured. We've been neglecting this little flower the last 50, 60 years, unfortunately, because we were so lucky to find a country rich, wealthy, where we had everything. And now we start to realize that this flower, because of our negligence, I'm not talking about me and you, but people, unfortunately, they've been before us, and they were so busy being happy and sometimes being stupid and not paying attention, this flower is dying. The flower of freedom is dying. So we had the last few minutes, and I'm here, I'm crying. I try to do everything. I will try to reach the other side if I have to, but at the same time I say, hey, there is a point that you can be stupid, we can fix that. We can try to give you education. If you're evil, if you're arrogant, I'm sorry. At this point, you become my enemy, because this is what at stake. It's my freedom, and also our country. So that's how I want to say thank you again, Pete. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no need to thank me. I mean, I believe that you bring an awesome perspective. As a matter of fact, your accent is awesome. I mean, you're very you have a strong accent, but guess what? That adds to the credibility when you say that you understand the differences between communism, socialism, and freedom. And you've seen different parts of that. Most Americans have only seen the American version of freedom being whittled down from what they thought was freedom to now they're calling it freedom, but in actuality, this is communism being installed in the United States of America. You've seen socialism in action.
Exactly.
You've seen it fail in Europe.
Exactly.
So your accent complements everything we're trying to tell everyone about what we're living under. I think we're under a spell right now. We don't understand what's happening to us.
Exactly, and this is a part of the plan. They want to keep us dumb, of course, and it's not just about through the education, through also the lifestyle, the social life. I'm talking about also the food, the chemicals, and everything. And I tell you, before I came to America in 1998, I was lucky enough to travel a little bit around the world, and I was looking for my final place, or at least the place that in this physical dimension I would reach closest to the ideal of freedom that I always had since I was a child, okay? I was born in Rome, and I grew up in Anzio, where my family lived through World War II, and I was really emotionally touched by the American people, especially the Americans of that generation, the great generation, World War II, people that really, they gave everything they had and they died for somebody else, and that was the last declared war, constitutional war, that really was done with some sort of at least of dignity and legitimacy. Okay, and I felt so bad when I started to learn all the stories of many women, also women, Red Cross women, they died on the beaches of Anzios, and I wanted always to come to America, but before I did my final step, and I took my visa at the Roman embassy, I wanted to see a little bit more around the world, to see if maybe there is another country before America. Maybe there is something else that get close to that. And I went a little bit everywhere. And I'm telling you, there is no country that comes close to the ideal of this country, what it used to be. And of course, it still can be. It's up to us. We can stop all this like overnight. If everybody tomorrow morning says, stop, we all open our doors and we walk out of the doors and we show our body. We're talking about 50 million people of us just showing our body. Instead of going to the football match and fill up with 50,000 idiots drinking beer, nothing wrong about that if you like to do that, but that's after, okay, guys? And you show up in front of your congressman office and you show 50,000 people one Sunday for a moment, for 1 minute, in every district, we would take this country back without even firing a bullet. Don't you agree with me? We should be a little bit like that.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And tell me if you agree with me as well, because I tried to, let's put it this way. I had an option to leave the country, but I chose to stay and fight because I do love my country. I'm a patriot. And I see that, am I patriotic towards the country that we are right now? Well, I look at it, and I always look at it and I say, what is wrong with us? And tell me if you agree with this. We have, our story, our history, how we were founded, how our founding fathers put everything together. They based our U.S. Constitution, that piece of paper, on a set of God-given rights. They backed it up and said, here's the law. You were born with certain unalienable rights. We fought, died, gave our blood, and we fought wars thereafter, protecting those freedoms and helping other countries. Well, guess what? We became a prosperous nation. We won wars. We became very, very successful in our principles, our values, and our business. And you know what? We celebrated for many, many, many years. Celebrated our prosperity, celebrated our freedom, celebrated everything that we'd inherited. Well, I think that we're drunk in the celebration.
Yes.
And we forgot about what was handed to us. And it's almost like a silver spoon in our mouths. We've never really earned the freedom, the prosperity, and everything we've been celebrating. I think we're kind of drunk right now. And we're about to suffer from a hangover when we realize what kind of time we've lost in protecting all those things.
Yes, and that's true. There is also an historic pattern that every civilization, at least every empire, when I call it like that, normally lasts about 250, 300 years. Of course, I hate to call American empire, but unfortunately that's what we became, at least the last 60, 70 years, or at least the last 80 years since the creation of the private Federal Reserve, that pretty much we lost control of our government. But on top, this is not just about an historical pattern that is repeating itself. There is a very hidden agenda that is not hidden anymore. It's called the creation of a global government, New World Order. And I think this is very vital. I know sometimes people shut down a little bit, another conspiracy. First of all, this is not a conspiracy, guys. I'm sorry. Maybe 30 years ago, people before us, people like you, that you were already here, you were in the Marines, you may be at the time, people, they were trying to warn us. They were called conspiracy because there were not enough information like internet to prove all this. Now we have so much information and we see out of their mouth, out of the president's mouth, look at George Walker Bush, how many times he mentioned the word New World Order. Look at Obama, look at Biden, look at many other also people around the world in the top position of government. There is a plan. The plan has been going for a long time. And to activate this global government plan, America must go down. That's the point. That's why we're here. We are resisting. That's why it motivates me to come here on Sunday. And, I could do United things, enjoy my range time, my family time, my cats and all my chickens and all my stuff. This is for me, my volunteerism, to try to do what I can to warn you, listener. And please forgive me, say sometimes I'm not that good on this microphone, but I'm desperate. I'm trying to reach you as a desperate man. And I'm telling you, after America falls down, there is nothing left. And, I know what you're saying, Pete. You had a chance to leave. But you know very well, first of all, you took an oath. you are a Marine. You're still a Marine. Your yacht didn't disappear. And I'm glad that you upheld your yacht till the end. That's one second. I have a friend also. Mike want to say something. Go ahead, Mike.
How you doing, Pete? My name is Mike.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Oh, fine. I think you mentioned you were with the Rents Network. Is that Jeff Rents?
Jeff Rance, yeah. We broadcast. That's one of the channels that we broadcast on. They actually took us on, believe it or not, when I actually had I had some controversy with Hillary Clinton, and we're
really?
taking it. He said, "I believe in your freedoms of speech, and we want to broadcast your show." So they're one of probably 15 different channels that we broadcast on.
Yeah, I like Jeff. I first heard him on Alex Jones a few years ago. You also say you're an ex-Marine. What is your take on what's going on in the Ukraine, especially now that the reports are Putin is beginning nuclear war drills? Have you got any input on that?
Yeah, I think that. Well, let me back up and tell you what I think has led up to where we are right now, and I want to make it really clear that what I'm about to say is not conspiracy theory. This is based on facts that our investigation team has been able to dig up. By the way, we're not just broadcasters; we're investigative journalists, and we're meat and potatoes people, just like all of us here on the show today. But we've been able to dig up the following: that Ukraine incident was instigated by, caused by the State Department overthrowing the government of the Ukraine. This is an East-West battle, but I believe that it's a big banking battle. Victoria Nuland, she's the Assistant Secretary of State for the United States. We started following her speeches she was giving back in December of 2013. She was speaking before ExxonMobil and Chevron saying, "We believe in the people of the Ukraine, and we want to install the IMF and take the Ukraine to the European Union." Well, right from that moment, you understand that it's about the IMF, about the EU, about overthrowing that government. Then we discovered that the whole Kiev thing was, we call it a false flag. I mean, it was literally an intelligence operation. It was all funded by, there were full-blown operations they had trucks that were paid for to bring tires, pallets, to keep those fires going, to keep a good visual image that these people were so-called fighting for freedom in Kiev. It was an intelligence operation. Now, they tried to spark war, and this is a fact that top diplomats have stated that the snipers who fired into the crowds and killed people fired at both the people of the Ukraine as well as the police. They were essentially trying to instigate war. Now, going up against Putin, I'll tell you what right now, do not take me as a Putin supporter. But Putin, on the other side of things, although he's not a kind, gentle soul, he's a former KGB agent from the Soviet Union. He would love nothing other than to reinstall the Soviet principles. But you know what? He's been conducting himself as I would probably conduct myself. Now, he wants his stuff. He wants his line to be drawn. He doesn't want U.S. or Western democracy to be installed in the Ukraine, and he's going to defend his nation, of course. But I think this whole thing is, guess what? When you look at the entire thing, I believe that both sides are benefiting. That both of their military-industrial complexes are making a ton of money in all of this war chatter. I believe it's just a big money-making thing. Will it result in war? And I'll tell you what, if somebody makes a wrong move, yes, it could result in all-out, full-blown nuclear war.
Can I say something?
I think it's fake. I think it's just to make money. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely. There is also my 2 cents humble opinion. I believe that it's like a wrestling match. Obama, the administration, of course, is a puppet for the globalists, and the Russians, okay? They are part of this sort of a play. It's like a movie. Obama pretty much he needs the help of Russia and other communist country to actuate the final plan. They need to, first of all, of course, economically destroy us, bankrupt us, but also they need to bankrupt us morally. This is an unjust act, okay? I think every war without declaration of Congress is unjust and also illegal. But in this one, especially to mind in their business and trying to tell them how they should vote and what they should do, we look like the bad guys, okay? Now, let's not forget, let's not just see what they say, but let's see what they do. Obama goes out and he's trying to be almost like enemy with Russia. Meanwhile, I just found out today, or yesterday, I think I also told you when we were on your show, the Judicial Watch blog, it's official news, U.S., the Obama administration is being caught just March the 26th to give Russia free military equipment used by Army and Marines. This is serious, free. The serious type of weapons. Technology weapons, and this has happened by accident. It was caught. So we have, at the same time, we have 30,000 or more Russian special troops since the last year or more sitting in Colorado. We have FEMA official agreement on FEMA.gov website that in case of emergency, we're going to have Russian troops patrolling and keeping us safe on the streets of America. It's kind of scary. And then we have, of course, Chinese troops in Hawaii. And then we have all this drama that Russia is our enemies. Meanwhile, we're giving weapons. Meanwhile, we have 200,000 M1 Garand that's supposed to come back as a surplus. And Obama, by executive order a few months ago, stopped the reimportation of giving to law-abiding citizens willing to pay for our rifles back. We cannot even import them anymore. I see here there is a conspiracy, but the conspiracy, it's real. It's to disarm the American people, set us up in a situation that we're going to be completely disadvantaged with also the nuclear edge that we had, because we had the lowest numbers in the military before World War II, and also the nuclear deterrent is gone. Obama unilaterally pretty much halted most of our defenses, and now you know about the southern border, the air defense system of the southern border with Mexico. For the first time in the history of this country, March of 13, is being shut down. This is official, from official websites. I am not an analyst. I'm a regular guy, but I'm not even an idiot. I mean, I smell that we're going to be set up. We've already been set up. What do you think about all this scenario?
You know, this is what I think we can't forget about the following. Although we had, a so-called, and I'm looking back at it, and this is my opinion, it's very controversial opinion, especially among, us, Reaganites or former Reaganites. I mean, now I realize that even the Cold War resulted in, with Gorbachev and perestroika coming forward. I believe that this new world order that you were referring to,
yes,
we're now seeing the final stages of the implementation of this new world order. Now, could we still have war directly with Russia? But I believe that if we do, it's all by design, because if they create chaos, they fire one shot at each other. Russia and the United States comes together in war. Guess what? To stop that war, because it will destroy both countries financially, okay? It will decimate both countries. They'll say, you know what? In order to resolve our differences, we must all come together in a big kumbaya moment. Let's just have one big world currency and one big world government, and we'll have grand world peace. And this is what they're shooting for. It's called the Hegelian dialectic.
Yes.
And that is problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, all right? They have us begging for them to stop fighting and to restructure our finances and our governments, and then we accept the solution that they have. They want to position themselves on the other side of this disaster. It's going to be a global war disaster. It's going to be a global financial disaster, and we will literally run to the people who've created it all to solve our problems.
I completely believe that, and that's part, I believe, the plan. That's why also, I'm sure you're familiar, they are being exposed also by many sources, but there was a great documentary by Jesse Ventura. There was this town called Ozark. I don't know if you ever watched it on YouTube. Anyway, they are bunkering down. They are creating underground cities. They are creating underground bunkers for the elite, of course, or for bankers or whatever. This is happening. They are spending billions of dollars, maybe if not trillions, to prepare for something that we are not even allowed to know, and they're using mostly our money. So I believe we're going to face something, unfortunately, very terrible. But at the same time, we have to spread this information, because I believe there is always hope. And we already stopped, for example, some attempt to create this sort of a funny wars like the Syria. at our Nobel Peace Prize, be sarcastic here, Mr. Obama was trying to push us in, and I think that we still need to do whatever we can, regardless of their plan. I have a personal question for you, and that's funny because I have a lot of listeners that this radio station broadcast also Alex Jones, and I'm not I'm not an advocate, I'm not a PR. I listen to Alex, and I know that you don't agree. We pretty much have strong words, and I'm just curious because I'm not trying to be, it's your opinion, and we don't need to agree on everything. The only thing I wanted to say, I've been awakened by Alex Jones a few years ago, and I don't agree with everything he may say, but at least I'm here today as an aware human being, because 10 years ago I was able to start to listen and investigate things he was saying, and regardless his agenda or not, I'm here awake. Can I ask you something? Why do you have strong feelings towards Mr. Jones? What happened?
Well, you know what? I'm the same person that when I said that I awakened, guess who I came awake by? I used to listen to Alex Jones for a good 10 years.
Okay.
Day and night, round the clock, woke up. He's the one that taught me. And this is, by the way, I went to Alex Jones's show with Gerald Salente and Bob Chapman because I wanted to hear their financial stuff.
Wow.
Okay. I wanted to hear them talk about gold. Gerald Salente was telling me to buy gold when it was $2.95.
Wow.
I stumbled into Alex Jones through them. I heard him talking about conspiracy theories. I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it took me until about 2005, 2006 to realize that he was presenting some serious evidence that something was wrong with 9/11. He woke me up. He presented all of the stuff that helped me wake up, and I'm grateful to him for that. But guess what? I have evolved to the following point, and I want to make it really clear.
Yes.
I became so pissed off, Luca Zanna. I mean, very upset in November of 2012 when I found out that there was a federal court case, it's called a Keaton case.
Yes.
Federal evidence about 9/11 that existed was filed in the system. Alex Jones knew about it, and he's never, ever spoken about it. Ever. Ever. To this day, he still won't speak of Dr. Judy Wood's Keaton case on 9/11. This is a self-proclaimed 9/11 expert, somebody that must stay on top of these issues, especially relating to 9/11. Well, that 9/11 evidence, guess what it presented to me? And I know this scientifically, factually. I looked at this Keaton case. I took a look at so many different anomalies that convinced me, no doubt in my mind, that directed energy weapons, free energy technology is available, and it was used on 9/11. It was used on 9/11. And there's so much, I'm talking about indisputable evidence. Not once has Alex Jones ever spoken of it. That's when I turned on him, because I realized what was going on. He was presenting to me in the same fashion that even the mainstream media is. They tell you what you want to hear. They pretend like they're credible. They throw out some news. You start, really trusting them. But what we all need to be concerned about is what they're concealing. Now, is Alex Jones intentionally doing? I don't know. I don't care. I'm just upset that he's been sitting on this stuff and he refuses to bring it forward. That is my feeling towards Alex Jones. And guess what? My loyalty is not to a bunch of people that say, but Alex Jones woke all of us up and we should therefore overlook the fact that he's covering up 9/11 evidence. I will never do that. I'm going to say, screw you. I'm going to pay attention. Don't even trust me. You go find out for yourself, and don't trust anyone. Only believe what you've researched yourself.
I agree. I agree, Pete. I feel. My point is this one. First of all, I have allegiance to no man or no woman. I always try to learn from people, and I try to get. The only thing I want to say also on the other side, because, and I don't know exactly the details. I would like, first of all, to learn more about what you're saying. It's very interesting. I think it deserves for sure information. I never was aware, and that's very important. But let's say even, for example, let's say that by stupidity or by just design, Mr. Jones did not want to touch this topic. That could be very vital. Don't get me wrong. I think it would be something we should all know. At the same time, I try to look, at the spectrum of things that somebody does, because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I do probably maybe 9 things right, and maybe I do 2 things that by accident or by stupidity, sometimes also just because I'm a man, I'm a human being, I do wrong. And I always hope at the end of the day, I've been judged if somebody else want to judge me, by the whole spectrum of things I've been doing in my life and all my days. So, as I say, I have not any type of, I don't get paid by Mr. Jones, and I don't have any type, always, every time he says something, I always double check, like everybody else. So, I like that. The only thing I'm saying at the same time, I like to also give a little bit of, I don't want to completely throw the axe at somebody just because one thing, as much as is important, I believe, maybe for some reason he didn't do it. Because at the end of the day, we are here together, and the enemy is in front of us. It's not beside us, not behind us. It's in front of us. We need each other. I mean, sometimes I'm dealing with people that I don't like personally, and I would give my life for them, and I hope we can do this together because we need each other. Mike, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wonder if especially any of his callers have ever confronted him on that. And now you got me wanting to call him myself and bring this up.
Well, and that's what we need to do. Here's what I teach, okay? And by the way, you don't need to believe me. And I'm just like you guys. I'm just like everybody else. If somebody says, "Oh, Pete Santilli, you're trying to, compete or do X, Y, Z," no, I'm trying to be just like you. I want to know the truth. I want to bring the truth forward. And if you're not willing to discuss it with me, I move on. And yes, will I be loyal to him for all the information he gave me? Absolutely, sure. We need to come together. He's done lots of great things. He's got good reporters that have reported stuff on the Boston Marathon bombing. I still give those reporters credit, absolutely. I will give him the benefit of the doubt, but I will always hold that man accountable. He must absolutely positively convince me that he's on our side to discuss this key, critical 9/11 evidence. That's just one issue with Alex Jones. Here's what I encourage everybody to do. Trust absolutely nobody. Listen to and read everything you can get your hands on, and only believe what you have personally researched yourself. Okay?
Pete,
and I keep an independent mind, and that's where I express my opinion. And I do my own research. I have formed my own opinion, and I'm going to stand on that. It doesn't matter how many tens of millions of people are saying, "Oh, you're against Alex." I don't care what you say. There's not enough evidence that exists, and people died, and we need to know the truth.
I agree. Where can we find? Because I always, I'm glad. That's why the purpose of this show is to learn from each other, and I'm so glad that we were talking about this. Do you have a page or a place that you can direct us to start this journey to research about this information you were talking about?
I do, and here's how I discovered it. I'm gonna share it with everyone, just like it came to me.
Okay.
I was listening to Jesse Ventura talking to. This is how I found out about this. Jesse Ventura went on the Alex Jones show.
Yes.
And he said, "Alex, I want to tell you, I discovered the following name, and I want you to write this down if you're listening.
Yes.
Go Google her name, and you will be down a rabbit hole, okay, of truth.
Go ahead.
You just like me, Dr. Judy Wood." Okay, and I typed it. I was Googling as Jesse Ventura was saying this. I'm like, who the hell is Dr. Judy Wood? And I started looking into this. Now, once I started learning about Dr. Judy Wood's evidence, I actually spoke with her. She sent me a copy of her textbook, Where Did the Towers Go?
Yes.
And I looked at this book. Let me give you one example. This is what I first learned when I opened up the textbook. Did you know, Luca, and tell me the truth, have you ever heard of Hurricane Aaron on 9/11?
No.
Okay. When I found out, this is just one of the many, many, many anomalies that you'll learn. I'm like, what is Hurricane Aaron? What are you talking about? There was a Category 3 hurricane that was directed up the eastern seaboard. This is scientific fact. You can see it's on NOAA. It went up against New York City. Okay. It parked about, I think, 300 miles. The edge of the hurricane could be seen from the overhead shot of the World Trade Center tower demise, from the smoke coming from ground zero. You could see the edge of the hurricane. And I said, there was a hurricane off the coast of New York? Oh, yes. Well, what did that mean? Well, Dr. Judy Wood said, well, you need to look at all of the evidence before you fully understand why that hurricane may or may not be important. Is it relevant? It is when you look at all the evidence. So go Google Dr. Judy Wood and learn as much as you can, and don't let anybody tell you to stay away from her information, because it is indisputable evidence. That's one thing. Here's another thing. You want to know something else?
Yes, go ahead.
I sat with her in a presentation, and I started trying to make assumptions. And I was looking at the hurricane. I'm looking at all this evidence. I was making all kinds of assumptions. She said, stop. I don't want you to think about anything. I want you to look at all the evidence. When you see it all, then you can start to form an opinion as to what happened. physically, I watched a physical beam, a steel beam falling from the towers, start out at the top of the tower, and by the time it hit the ground, it had turned to dust in midair.
Wow.
Okay, now what does that mean? You're like, is that hocus pocus? Well, I'm going to speed up the process here, and I'm going to give you guys, skipping over all the evidence.
Yes.
I want you to understand what happened on 9/11. No one can ever know about the technology that exists about free energy. This is something they would never want to know. You know why? It would shut down the entire oil industry.
Wow. Mr. Dave Ace, by the way, is nodding. Seems kind of excited. Is the owner of the radio, and it was pretty good.
Luca, I'm going to stake my life on this.
Oh, that's great. Listen, we live to learn, and that's why I tell you I'm really glad, because I always say we are here to learn. The journey of learning never ends. The moment that we think we know it all, we don't know anything. And
I always learn when I discover something new.
Yes.
What I always learn in every case is that they've always wanted to keep the truth away from my brain. Mm-hmm. Always. They want to keep the truth away from my brain about Ukraine. They want to keep the truth away from my brain about 9/11. They want to keep the truth away from my brain about Boston Marathon bombing. But guess what? There's nothing that could ever change my mind from seeing evidence about photoshopped images that the FBI was trying to push on me on Boston Marathon bombing. There's no one that could ever change my mind about the evidence I saw about 9/11. And I want to encourage every single listener to do the same. You make up your own mind. You go find the truth, and don't tell somebody. Don't let anybody tell you to look away from it. Debunkers, they call them. They want to take you away from the truth and take you off in the corner and come up with a reason or an explanation. Never stop looking away from the truth.
I agree, and that's the good thing about it. Now we have the opportunity. It's up to us to start the journey, and that's what I would like to do. Already found the website, drjudywood.com, and it's time to do our own research. And because at the end of the day, yes, something that happened, we know that it wasn't what they told us. And it would be important to know exactly how they did it, because that opens also to a new level of truth. Because unfortunately, I think, at the end of the day, between me and you, if there were the airplanes doing it or some sort of a special beam, the point is, when I understand that somebody in the government, or at least part of the secret government, controlled by the bankers, they've been doing false flag, not just today, but the last at least 50, 60 years, if not more. This is terrible. But then, of course, to know that we have in front of us such technology that could be devastating, that maybe it could be also from some other type of source. I don't even know that. It's something we should know, definitely. So I appreciate this input today, and I'm glad we brought up this topic, by the way.
You know what? It tells everyone a lot about, you asked me who I am and what I'm about. Mm-hmm. I would say who I am and what I'm about. Let's put it this way. Before November 2012, before I started talking about Dr. Judy,
yes,
I had an impeccable reputation, I had a top secret security clearance in the United States Marine Corps. I had a perfect track record in corporate America. I sued Coca-Cola on principle because they were stealing $200,000 to $300,000 a month from employees. I won that lawsuit, a successful business owner, had a pristine reputation in social media. I discovered 9/11 truth. All of a sudden, I was attacked. And when you get attacked for coming out against, 9/11 evidence and all these other issues, that's when you know you're right on top of the truth.
Yes.
And I will never, ever deter myself from going after that stuff and sharing it with as many people as possible. That's who I am, and no one is going to be able to change that. So help me God.
Yes, and please, where people, if they want to listen to your show, can you please remind us exactly where and when they can listen to you?
You can listen to all of our shows, including your show now. We're going to be rebroadcasting a show featuring your show, as well as other hosts that we have on that we feel we call us a coalition of like-minded individuals. You can go to gmn.is. Our servers are in Iceland, by the way, because they have much more respect for human rights and corporate rights, by the way, privacy rights.
Nice, I like that.
Yes, gmn.is or guerrillamedianetwork.com, GUERILLA, guerrillamedianetwork.com. And we broadcast my show 10 a.m. Pacific time, Monday through Saturday, but we rebroadcast 24/7 and all kinds of content 24/7. So check us out and hold us accountable to everything that we claim. Absolutely, just like we're trying to hold everyone else accountable to.
Pete, I love you and I appreciate your enthusiasm and your activism. And by the way, I like your delivery, especially when you are off the FCC rules. It's kind of almost as music for my ears sometimes. It relaxes me, I must tell you. We had a lot of fun listening to you. So I want to thank you again, and I want to leave you with the notes of the song that somehow put us in connection in this physical dimension called Planet Earth. The song is Don't Tread on Us, and I'll dedicate it to you and all the patriots working at GMN. Are you ready? And see you there.
Awesome, Luca. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't tread on us. We're not afraid. You work for us. We're not your slaves. Don't tread on us. You crossed the line. Soon you will pay for all your crimes. After a long train of abusive and dissipation, now we've lost our patience. You're trying to kill our constitution, to kill our pride. Now the wood is dry. Don't tread on us. We're not afraid. You work for us. We're not your slaves. Don't tread on us. You crossed the line. Soon you will pay for all your crimes. You keep on pushing us into desperation. You'll only fuel our determination. Yeah, it's been way too long since the last time.
Here we go, guys. This is almost the end. Love, Guns, and Freedom live on K-Talks 1340 AM and on Guerrilla Media Network and on lovegunsfreedom.com. I'm here with Mike, my friend Mike Haywood. Mike, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Before we continue and before we finish, because we're almost there at the end, an interesting interview. I really liked the different point of view, and it's great information to start to learn. I think it's great. Any news, Mike? We were talking last time about rifles, and unfortunately today, I don't even say unfortunately, I'm glad we talk about this. I wanted to talk more about rifles, but we will talk probably next time I come back.
Sure.
And I wanted just to remind one more time the sponsors. Why don't you do that this time, for example? It's your job, okay? We have two sponsors to remember.
We have Colorado River Vapor at 4400 South Highway 95 in Fort Mojave. Catch the wave and vape. Ditch the ash. If you're trying to kick cigarettes, this is the place to go. You'll talk to Tom and his great staff over there. Also, if you're shopping for a hunter, competitive sportsman, or self-defense, the name to know is NP Gun Sales. NP stands for No Problems when it comes to gun rights. You have the right to talk with a professional, not to be overcharged. You have the right to have your firearms serviced and maintained by the pros. Springfield, Glock, Beretta, S&W, Remington, Colt, and more. Rifles, handguns, and Class 3 weapons. Can't find ammo. NP gets deliveries daily. So we have ammo when the other guys don't at all. All at NP Gun Sales, 4470 Highway 95 across from Maverick. If you want the phone number, it's 444-5905. And don't forget to check their website at npguns.com. I hear the music. So,
it's okay. Keep going.
That's it. NP Guns, Colorado River Vapor. And don't forget to listen now on GMN Network.
Perfect.
For the Luca Zanna Show.
Perfect. One more thing before we finish, First of all, I want to thank everybody for listening. And more important, we have a duty to do, guys. I mean, we're here for a limited time on this planet. And at that point, we're all gonna die one day. Doesn't matter. At the point what we have now, we have a choice to do something in this limited time we've been given. Stand for good, stand for the truth, face evil, or just be silent. And one day maybe have the worst things gonna happen to us. The regret of the things we didn't do or we didn't say. So I pray that we're all gonna do the right thing. Stand up for freedom. Thank you very much. Stay tuned and see you next week. Or listen to you next week. Bye.